So, interesting things that have happened recently. It's December 19th. Forgive me, I'm in my PJs. It's my day off. Um, got my coffee. My wife went out shopping. Interesting few days. So, we're awaiting the change in administration in the United States right now. It won't happen for another month to almost to the day. January 20th is when the transfer of power takes place. January 6th is when it gets certified. Doge is a big part of the oncoming administration. However, unofficially, Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk coming in to increase government efficiency, the Department of Government Efficiency. And we saw an extremely interesting sign of hopefully what's to come with Doge just now. So there was a huge pork belly spending bill that was going to start making its way through the halls of Congress. 1,571 pages, I think I read. Ridiculous. The Lord of the Rings, epic, right? And of course, who are the people that write these bills? None of the members of Congress. They don't even read them. They get them, a day before they're meant to vote on them. And for the first time in history, now, because of the forced purchase of what was then Twitter by Judge McCormick in Delaware, thrust upon Musk, and now that platform directly competing with Google, Meta, Open AI with Grok, has the capacity to take this huge document that nobody is actually going to read, because this is the corruption that we have in the United States. We pass laws that literally are basically impossible to actually digest before they're voted upon. Again, because they're so voluminous and they're given to the people that are meant to vote on them. Like, how ridiculous is that? It's given to them shortly before the vote, a day, 2 days before the vote. Now, never before, you can give this document digitally to an AI, large language model, in this case Grok, and see what is wasteful, what's ridiculous, what is crony backroom dealings, crony capitalism, what is government contracting that is not in the best interest of the American people, what is self-serving congressional changes in income, in opting out of Obamacare, Affordable Care Act, I should say. I don't like when legislation is the name of it's changed for political reasons. Anyway, there was a ton of language in this bill that was not in the best interest of the American people. And X, what was formerly Twitter, now X, started talking about this, and it was very quickly the case that the things that were not in the interest of the American people were able to be itemized. Hey, this on this page is this thing. It's biolabs in Ukraine, or it's this censorship company that is being funded by the American tax dollar now in this bill. A raise for all congressional appointees from $170,000 a year to $240,000 a year, which would be great for the rest of the working people in this country, right? We just put in for assistance from the government for food, but I make too much, right? Because gross, I make more than the minimum, which is ridiculous because our rent is so friggin' expensive that we're barely making ends meet, and it would be extraordinarily helpful to have some benefits. But if you make a ton, you're constantly getting free money. And if you make nothing, you pay nothing for healthcare, you pay nothing for food, you get given money by the government. What we have is socialism for the rich and the poor, and rugged individual capitalism for the working class, for the actual engine of this country, the people that go to work every day and make the goods and provide the services that you pay for, right? That you use, and great. But these are the people that we want to give more freedoms to, give more incentives to, give more benefits to, the people that are productive. So my point being, for the first time ever, now we have a voice of the people, X, where, you know, attached to it is an AI that was able to, in real time, pull out the things that were egregious in this document, and people were able to comment on it, share it, repost it in real time. I was at work and I was watching the unbelievable firestorm around this potential legislation, and it got shot down by the people. This is a process that has been instantiated in the United States for the last 50 years, where they can just do whatever they want, these Congress people, and they're in the pocket of, you know, God knows who, military industrial complex, big pharma, huge amounts, billionaires, trillion, you know, legacy money that is really running the world. You know, we're toppling governments. We helped overthrow Syria. We're involved in the Ukraine goings on with Russia. You know, the Israeli conflict in the Middle East. Like, we've got all our fingers in the pies of everything overseas, in the interest of a very few amount of people that are terrible people, in my opinion. These warmonger, psycho, you know, weapon-pushing globalists, right? And you've got, you know, what, 200 million people in this country that just work, that just go to work every day and want to, you know, have a prosperous future for their families, but inflation is killing our purchasing power. You know, the dream of home ownership, unless you're wealthy or, you know, inheriting money, is laughable for the vast majority of young people in this country. So it's just very interesting that now, with the kind of pendulum, to me, with the pendulum swing back from kind of the socialism, communism, Maoism, Marxism, identity politics, identitarian, hyper-leftist political landscape totally now being effectively argued against by the libertarian, classic liberalism, freedom, prosperity loving capitalist, you know, labor is good type people, you're seeing now with, you know, X and what happened with this, it was called the CR bill, like the continual resolution bill or something. It's always got some nonsense name, the legislation in the United States, getting shot down. You're seeing that the voice of the people, Vox Populi, Vox Dei, matters. And that's so exciting, because I think people like me around the country are so tired of just being browbeaten and shamed and humiliated and disrespected for having an opinion that happens to go against the message, that we're happy to be able to articulate our opinions fairly in the free marketplace of ideas. You know, no, I don't think that the rich should get all of the preferential treatment, nor do I think the abject poor should get more preferential benefits than the working class. I think that's asinine. I think that giving benefits to people based on incentive structures that are upside down leads to an upside down society. Do I think that people in abject poverty should have a safety net? Sure. But you got to be careful that you don't incentivize the kinds of behaviors that move people into abject poverty. I've read so many stories of people that have to get divorces because the mother will get more benefits if she's a single mother than she would if she's in a loving relationship. You know, NGOs are paid based on the amount of people that they serve. So the incentive is exactly upside down. There's no reward for getting rid of homelessness. You get funded more based on how many homeless people are in your jurisdiction. It's upside down. We have idealists and theorists running the government for far too long, and we need pragmatists and realists, because you can sit there and nitpick the United States all day long if you're comparing it to, you know, unicornia. But if you compare it to Syria, it's a lot different discussion that we're going to have, right? If you compare the United States to, you know, apartheid South Africa, it's a lot different conversation. If you compare it to Venezuela, we can actually have a good discussion about economics, right? But A young college student has never been to any of those places, nor has any interest in any of those places, right? A young college student sees success and says, why not me? And not why not me in a, rocky way that we got in the 80s, right? Of, it's hard work, let's go have some hard work, let's go get it. In a way that is, Marxist, right? In a way that says, let's take what they have, because there's no such thing as, well-gotten gains. And that's a really dangerous worldview. And that's what we're seeing in the West. And now it's being effectively challenged. And I hope that the reasonable, rational lovers of freedom and classic liberalism will win the day. Because you're a lot better off in a society that allows you to speak your mind than you are in a society that doesn't. And if you think that deplatforming, censoring people is good because it's only ever going to happen to the people that you disagree with, you don't understand the nature of power in the world. If you advocate for a society that is tyrannical because it happens to be the case that the people that you agree with are the ones standing to inherit that power right now, you will clearly and soon find that affording the central government the power over your life now will be used against you in the future. And so the reason why Trump got elected, Elon Musk is such a force for good, you're seeing things like this CR bill get struck down in real time, is because the people that understand that are now able to get behind what is reasonable, rational, pragmatic, and in the interest of classic liberalism and freedom and prosperity. Myself and people like me want to do nothing to restrict your freedoms, your freedom of speech, your freedom to pursue happiness. What we want is to take away the bureaucratic apparatus to preferentially benefit certain people over other people, period. I don't care if it's based on identitarian politics or anything else. The only things that ought matter in this country are citizenship and contribution. If you're going to work to the degree to which you can in this country, good on you. Because that's how, we all got to row, man. If we're all in the same boat, we all got to row. Period. The left worships compassion. The right worships strength. They're both good. You need to have both, right? Clearly. But if you have compassion without strength, then that compassion becomes it becomes a suicidal tendency. It becomes useful for the Machiavellian Satanists to use against you. It becomes useful for those that would use your compassion towards your own destruction, right? You don't just go around giving of yourself to everybody. You can, and good on you, and that's that kind of idealistic look at the world, but eventually somebody's going to use that against you, and it's going to make you sour and bitter. And I'm not saying to not have an open heart and not be compassionate. I'm saying you also have to be strong. You also have to be able to defend yourself, right? The right worships strength. So, you want people to go out there and save the day in the hero's journey, and Joseph Campbell and capable human characteristics of, fortitude are very entrenched in the right. Obviously, you can't be strong without compassion because that becomes, a tyranny, right? These are well understood concepts. We've been way too dominated by the left for the last 20 years in this country. You can have, organizations for women and BIPOC and, indigenous people, etc. You cannot have an organization for heterosexual people. You cannot have an organization for European descendants because it's the things that have created that bureaucracy were informed by a Marxist worldview that sees the entirety of human history as oppressor and oppressed, which is asinine. Everybody's been oppressed and everybody's been oppressor. We are made as humans of myriad components and characteristics of identity. Am I a green-eyed person? Am I a brown-haired person? Am I a white person? Am I a Greek person? Am I a Russian person? Am I a Polish person? I don't know. And you don't know me. So you don't get to tell me that. Because those would be, that would be prejudicial. So we've lived in a ridiculous dialectic shift from what has been perceived as a unjust history in this country to now what has been in the last 20 years an unjust present. And we need to get back to a merit-based, colorblind society based on shared prosperity. Let's go back to the moon. Let's stop wasteful spending in the federal government. The government in this country is the largest corporation in the world, and it is $36 trillion in debt. No other business person, unless it was, able to fund itself on threat of, incarceration, would be able to, continue to fund this endeavor that is the U.S. federal government. We have this corrupt bureaucracy that has, metastasized over the last 50 years since, the World War II. I think we're just starting to see the counterpoint of that. We have too many smart, free-thinking, compassionate, strong people in this country. And that has nothing to do with your sex, age, sexuality, color. It's about your character. And that's what we're getting back to. And I think you're seeing the death throes of an evil system in the propagandists creating a talking point and then that pervading, social media and so forth. But it's getting less and less relevant because now the talking point is, oh, Musk is running the government and Trump is his number two. That kind of, gossip, shame, and rallying works against people who want to join your club. The problem that the leftist aristocracy has right now in the United States is that nobody that is a good person, in my opinion, I mean, that's maybe a little strong. The power players on this kind of ascendant right don't want to join that club. They want to be individuals. And so you're seeing this flailing apparatus in mainstream news, cable television, Hollywood, Ubisoft, BioWare, like Western gaming. All of these things are just losing the plot. They're not selling units. They're not selling advertising revenue. They're dunking on themselves constantly, playing themselves because the reasonable, rational, pragmatist, again, freedom-loving, classic liberal people like myself just want a dialogue. I don't think I'm right all the time. I just think I'm me, and being me, I'm afforded my own experience and my own opinions, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share them with you guys. I'm excited for a day and age where that's now more so the case. And I want to produce and I want to serve my family and my community and my, city, county, state, and nation. And I don't think that our nation should more highly tax people that want to produce to line the pockets of congressional appointees and incentivize self-destructive behaviors like, needless divorce, needless, addictive drug use, homelessness, etc. We've sent over so much money overseas, we could have housed every homeless person in this country multiple times. Our priorities are wrong, in my opinion. And I hope that they're, getting aligned now again. On another note, I just joined the Tesla Early Adopters FSD program. So because I've done that, I had to sign an NDA that says I won't publish any information about the findings and the software and so forth. So I've pulled the videos that I had of full self-driving. I have 13.2 now. I won't talk about it. But the videos that I've had previous to joining this, rollout or whatever, I've made private. So just FYI. So I will be enjoying this privilege and learning and getting my thoughts clear on the evolution of Tesla full self-driving, but I will not be able to share those things. Just FYI, those were some of my best performing videos too, unfortunately. But I hope that I can make more just kind of free-form content like this. I enjoy speaking my mind. I didn't really have a point this time. I know for YouTube, I kind of have to like define my channel, define my, you know, audience, and find my specific niche. But I'm just a person. I like to think, I like to talk, and kind of explore my thoughts as I go. So here's just kind of an update. December 19th, 2024. Looking forward to Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody, to all of you out there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your guys' time. I've said that I'm going to be more consistent, so I intend to do so. It's just finding an upload cadence. I do have my 360 camera. We are going to go skiing tomorrow. I will make some ski videos for you. We're going to be taking Laura out for the first time ever on skis. Super duper exciting. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for your attention and your time. I really appreciate you guys. If you disagree with anything, please let me know. I love to engage in dialogue. Just be respectful. That's all I ask. I'll just fucking delete your shit if you're gonna like call me names and this and that. I would like to hold myself to the same standard. If you disagree with me, I would love to engage with the idea, not with you know, your character. Like I can be wrong. You know, I sit corrected. I stand corrected. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you guys. Love you, and I'll see you again real soon, I hope. Bye bye.